Yes, of course it hurts. A poem by Karine Boye, translated by David McDuff. Yes, of course it hurts when buds are breaking. Why else would the springtime falter? Why would all our ardent longing bind itself in frozen, bitter pallor? After all, the bud was covered all winter. What new thing is it that bursts and wears? Yes, of course it hurts when buds are breaking. Hurts for that which grows and that which bars. Yes, it is hard when drops are falling, trembling with fear and heavy hanging, cleaving to the twig and swelling, sliding. Weight draws them down, though they go on clinging. Hard to be uncertain, afraid and divided. Hard to feel the depths attract and call, yet sit fast and merely tremble. Hard to want to stay and want to fall. Then, when things are worst and nothing helps, the tree's buds break as in rejoicing. Then, when no fear holds back any longer, down in glitter go the twigs' drops plunging. Forget that they were frightened by the new, forget their fear before the flight unfurled. Feel for a second their greatest safety. Rest in that trust that creates the world.
Uduasha City, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow, where dancers cavort in forbidden operas, making love to forgetting and flame, where the wealthy play at war with silver swords and silken sashes, where the people mine the dead heart of a burning star for cannonballs and pipework, and where 1,000 secrets hide in a forest of paper and ink. Here, the 5 keybearers reside, the 5 who know the secrets of the broken gates of death. 5 only. There is no 6th spire, forlorn and forgotten in the desert. There is no one who looks to the displaced, the poor and destitute and landless, whose ancestry has been stripped from them by foreign looms and foreign sparkcraft, and no one has ever heard of the House of Endings. But this is their story. Their roots pulled up and burned, they stand in filth up to their necks, and that is precisely why they must keep their heads ever high. Welcome to Uduasha, immigrant. May it fear the name of the house you will build. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about characters with their identities in peril, played by an international cast devoted to fiction-first gaming, collaborative world-building, and complex character drama.
I missed you,
Jesus
Craig.
Christ!
Recording! Oh my god, yeah!
I turned up my headphones to compensate for Emma's lower sound,
Oh
and then
god.
Craig scared the shit out of me.
I'm so sorry
Okay.
to hear that.
It's fine. It's just I turned like I adjusted the audio levels, and Craig was not adjusted. He's the only one who isn't. Welcome back to Desperate Attune, everyone, and to the House of Endings. And in the last session, we went to the Colosseum and had a rather dramatic fight. Two fights and a separate fight over the microphone. I think that about sums it up. Sherikatam dueled, what's his name? Diamond Tooth?
Demon Tooth.
Burzan
Yeah.
Diamond Suit. Diamond
Yes.
Tooth, yeah.
Yes. And Saeeda dueled Hambirao, who is a sort of member bodyguard of one of the great houses.
Yes.
Mhm.
I forget which one now. Ankayat, I think.
Okay.
So that happened, and you were basically successful. Like, you won a duel in the Colosseum. There was a bit of fiddling from Hambira, where he was like, technically you only beat me on a technicality. On the other hand, Diamond Tooth genuinely got his ass kicked. And there were two consequences of this, basically, because Bidrohi managed to tear away the magical microphone and commentate on the match. You are now famous. Like, you have tiered up. You are now established in Uduasha. People know of your names, and the Rising Moon Sword School is no longer thought of as basically, yeah, it's Ramu and some farmers, and then Ramu died. Now we have, now you guys have a reputation.
Especially Sherekatam.
Especially Sherekatam. And this session, we are going to focus on basically illustrating a little bit what tiering up will mean for this crew. And also on some conversations, some free play, some downtime. There probably won't be a score, but we'll see what the vibes are. Nevertheless, there's a lot of things to be described, discussed, and I'm sure there will still be plenty of dramatic scenes, even if there's no breaking into the Majesty Bank this particular session. But who knows?
I
So,
forgot that's a thing.
Yeah. So, let us begin with a general discussion of your tiering up. You have gotten famous enough that you probably have some students coming to your schools now. Your tier has increased, your cohort has grown. I think basically people actually want to learn fighting from you now. That's why you have a source of passive income, and that's why you have a tier, right? You have some people, even non-Kethrisi people, who think that you are cool, who want to learn to fight for reasons of self-defense or ego or a number of other reasons, right? And so, yeah, you get some donations now. Well, not donations. I guess you could frame them as donations, or you could frame them as people paying for an education. Either way. So I think let's start with zooming around a little bit on everyone's lifestyle and how this has increased as you have tiered up, and what it specifically means for your characters. Starting with the lair. So before we go on to your individual characters, tell me a little bit, everyone, about what improvements you have made to your lair and your home. So your home is Moonlit Ankatam's flop house, most of you anyway. And your lair is this abandoned smithy / sword school, which has at the back like a training area where some drug addicts used to hang out, I think. And
Not anymore.
which you're still working on improving that, consecrating the training grounds. And then you have a bunch of weapons lining the walls. And other than that, it was kind of a messy area. We described that you have a sofa. It wasn't all that clean. We didn't actually see many of the other rooms, which is, I assume, because they were just in a bad state of disrepair.
We had other rooms.
Yeah, I thought it was just like an open warehouse.
Yeah, I don't think we had. I don't think it was even a warehouse. It was just like a shop.
You definitely had a room, because we have seen Bald Murad go into that room and make tea. We have never actually seen anyone be in that room, but Bald Murad has been in it, and it has tea. This is what we know about it.
So the way I've been picturing this place is just like it's just like a tin roof over just dirt, and like there are some the space has been maybe like partitioned up into like a main area, maybe whatever the foreman's office or whoever used to be there, and maybe there's like a break room, and that'd be it.
Yeah, so I guess the break room is where Murad and Pilot make tea, which is all we have known about it. So, why don't you start by telling me, Aadiyat, since we're on you, what the break room actually looks like now, like now that you have improved it somewhat.
All right. If we have more students, like snacks are very important. Yeah. So, I mean, I was gonna say a vending machine, but this universe doesn't have one.
I know. Then I think we have now that it's a bit bigger. Sorry, I'm interrupting, but I think
no. Go ahead.
So I think we have actually managed to get the yard that the drug addicts were squatting in. Like, And I think like we have it, but now there's also, because there's a bit more space that we need, there's a sort of like snacks and chai vendor who basically has a little stall there. Basically, he's not an employee or anything, but like, you know, he basically
just hangs out there.
He hangs out. Yeah, he hangs out there, and like, and also a lot of people come there for him too. So it's good for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so an entrepreneur has moved in your backyard.
This checks out.
Okay, let's give this person a name. If you have a backyard entrepreneur, who is this?
Morpheus.
Morpheus pie.
Morpheus pie.
Morpheus pie.
Okay. Morpheus pie hangs out in your backyard selling tea. Lovely.
If this is surprising to your prince, don't be, because like whenever, like, I mean, back in Dhaka, like if any activity starts up, like within a few minutes, there's gonna be a new tea stall there.
Yeah, absolutely. I buy it, and it does make sense. There are actually customers visiting this area now in this like otherwise crowded part of Bundervest. So absolutely.
You can get tea, you can get samosas, and for some reason, he's always got bananas.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good.
How's Bald Murad taking this?
I don't know that Bald Murad was like. I don't know that he genuinely enjoyed making tea. It was just the only job you guys gave him. So now I guess he enjoys drinking it and not having to make it. So I don't necessarily think you put him out of a job or anything. He's technically security. It's just you've never asked him to do anything other than make you tea. So, lovely. What about the front of the establishment? Like, now that you have attracted some students, have you put up a sign or something like that? Again, you have a little bit of money. People know who you are. Is this entirely word of mouth? Does it look the same? Or is there some change to the facade? Let's have Emma answer this one.
So I think what we've done is it's not a sign that like that. I don't think there's a sign here that says here is the sword school. But I do think what we have is we have kind of from maybe beams or something built a facade that is that resembles the facade that a Cathrisi house would have. And the word of mouth is very much like pointing people to the house with the Cathrisi facade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Cathrisi architecture. Let's continue that thought, actually. I feel like I'll toss this one to Klow. What's Cathrisi architecture like?
Like, everyone can chip in, but I'm just nominating Klow here.
So largely wooden, very wood-based. I think a lot of it involves. So we discussed mangroves, right? So now I'm largely picturing now a lot of like reeds and so on. So like wooden kind of arches and so on that kind of like look like they were shaped. Like you don't necessarily carve, but you try to find a piece of wood that really like conforms to the shape you want. And then you take that shape, and then you take that piece of wood, and then you use reeds and other kind of vines and so on, dried up, and then you kind of lash those together to kind of like create the facade that you want. And perhaps then to fill in like to create like floors and so on, if you want to create like a second floor, you use the reeds and all that to create like a net sort of thing. So I think that's very traditional architecture. I don't think that many people actually live like this anymore, especially because there's also a lot of mud in Kethris. So I think there's also a lot of mud-based stuff. But I think the very like sort of like, especially if you're going for like an advertisement sort of vibe, then I think it's this sort of like a really naturalistic, found driftwood kind of architecture with the reeds and so on that people associate heavily with Kethris.
Ah, very cool. So this is the kind of thing that would be very cheap in Kethris and a bit more expensive here, actually, to get this look going.
Yeah.
Cool. Tree, one more question for you, which is that you have not only been working on claiming these training grounds, but your project is actually to consecrate them. which Bidrohi worked in part on by destroying an effigy of Ramu and trying to leave Ramu's heritage behind.
Yeah, we also asked some druggies to move away, and I think they mostly have.
Yeah. But my question is, now that this place is nicer, what signs of consecration are there actually? Like maybe Saeeda has put these up, or maybe other people have, but what,
Oh, nobody apart from Saeeda is trusted to do this, because nobody apart from Saeeda seems to know what it even is.
Sure.
But I think that what she's been doing is every day, every morning, she takes water that seems to have come from the river, and she I think she does some weird martial thing. Oh, I know what she does. She stands in front of the entrance or whatever. She's got a little jug of water. She throws it in the air, and then in one flick, she uses the sash to cut the stream of water. And when anybody asks her, she says, "Nothing can end before it begins."
Excellent.
And as a result of that, I think people have become a bit inspired, and so there's a lot of I think maybe there's one or two communal showers. There's somewhere you can drink water regularly, and everything is kept very clean.
Okay.
I don't know that Saeeda has told.
Yeah. When you say showers, do you mean to say that you guys have running water now? Because I don't think you did
Yeah,
before.
I think so.
Okay.
I think we do have
You've had a plumber. This is okay. This is basically most of the cost of tearing up, I think, is getting a decent plumber. But yeah.
And excellent. I want to be clear here that all of this is some of the new students, little bit Bolt Murad, following what they think is Saeeda's lead, and Saeeda has not told them to stop. But the one time that someone tried to do her weird little ritual, she beat the absolute shit out of them.
Okay, interesting.
I'll tell you how we have running water. We got a plumber. So there's the water bearers. They're the faction that controls the water. And Bundervest is kind of one of their turf areas.
Yeah.
So there's hydrants and so on in the area that the water bearers control access to. And I think we have spent a bit of money. Not as much as money as we would have had to spend if we actually got a contract with the water bearers directly. But we spent a bit of money to get a plumber to tap into the pipes from below and kind of siphon off water from the hydrants.
Okay. All right. So a bit of improvised plumbing.
Yes, and pretty illegal.
Yeah, makes sense. So you're stealing water at the moment, but you're not stealing very much of it, so it's probably fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Excellent. The one other thing I want to point out is that the quality of your weapons have increased, and I think that the reason this has happened actually is that the people who have shown up to study under you are mostly dispossessed farmers themselves, because this is how you fight. And I think they have left farming implements. They have many people show up and they pay you in tools. So you now have some nice sickles and scythes and flails and things adorning your walls, right? Because,
fancy weapons.
Yeah. They're not really weapons, they're farming tools. It's just they're newer and in better shape than the ones you had. Yeah.
No. The marketing is, fancy weapons.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the style of the lair. We will get to drilling down into
I do have one question, which is, who is teaching exactly?
I was about to ask.
Oh, okay, great. In that case, because I asked the question, I will volunteer somebody else to answer it.
I can answer it.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we have fully established any classes and so on as such. I think people show up, and whoever happens to be around and feels like it takes them through some basics.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've had in my short experience in doing some martial arts, that was typically how it worked out. whoever was
Yeah.
the most senior most member present at the time would just take the class.
Yeah. And I mean, you're sort of pillars of the community, right? This is not a formal school exactly. This is just someone shows up and goes like, "Hey, this gang has been breathing down my neck. Can you teach me to like beat these two guys up?" And someone who is nearby gives them some helpful pointers, and they give you like an old sickle in return, right? It's all very informal, but you have enough of a reputation now that you are the people that people turn to.
Yeah, because we don't have anyone who's an actual official ustad yet, and until we do, I don't think we can really take on students. You aren't a real ustad.
I beg your pardon. I am better than an ustad. I am me.
Well, so it should be easy for you to become an ustad then.
I don't think there is an official process, by the way. I think it's just like you declare yourself one. Let's be real.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see how it goes. But no one calls you ustad yet.
No.
Yeah, I don't want them to. That's for hoity-toity people who are not in touch with the masses, okay?
Okay, can I be ustad then?
Go on then.
Speaking of Saeeda's status, actually, we will turn to the scenes in a moment, but just how has this newfound local fame affected Saeeda? Like, for the first time, I think, in a long time, people now actually respect your wisdom. Before you were this weird old person that a limited amount of people turned to. But again, this tearing up didn't actually necessarily give you any money, but it did give you a lot of fame locally in the district. And that applies, I think, to all of your characters. So how is Saeeda handling this? And what changes, if any, in your lifestyle have occurred?
I think one of the things that has happened now is that people think that the kinds of things that Moss does are things that I'm telling Moss to do, rather than it just being weird shit that she does. Just because, like, Moss and I live together, and the assumption is that, you know, it must be some kind of like student-teacher thing, right? Like, I've taken on a personal student, rather than she's kind of related to me and she really didn't want to live with her mother. And therefore, I think what has happened is that there have been a number of people around Moss's age who come up to me and ask if they can live with me. And I've been having to be polite about telling them to fuck off, which earlier I wasn't.
So Saeeda does not live at Moonlit's boarding house?
Oh no, I live separately. I couldn't possibly live in Moonlit's house. It's really annoying to have to share my space, and the only reason I do it with Moss is that Moss is somewhat tolerant.
Okay, I don't think we've seen Saeeda's. Yeah, don't think we've seen Saeeda's home before. So
no, I don't think we have.
Yeah,
shall we go there?
Yeah, shall we do a brief description of it, and maybe set a scene between Saeeda and Moss there, even, if you have something you need to discuss?
I do have something to discuss with Moss, but I'm curious whether Moss has something to discuss with me also.
Well, then there's content for scene, so we will play to find out.
Okay, cool.
So, let's see the scene at Saeeda and Moss's house, which is, again, now somewhat nicer, because your tier is higher, so at least your gear is better, even if you aren't necessarily richer.
I think that there is as you come in, a little like wooden screen that kind of like, so I think the door is open, but like for some kind of privacy, there's a wooden like thing that's meant to let people kind of come in and take their slippers off or whatever. And the reason for this is that the house is not actually big enough to have a front room. Right. But one of the things that has changed is that now there's a little foot stand where you can put your feet up and stuff. Isn't that nice? Not your feet up, your shoes. I think we go in and it's not a very, like, I feel like it's, one floor. What I think in real estate ads, they call it 2 BHK, which is 2 bedrooms, a hall and a kitchen. But it's still quite big for someone in Saeeda's position, to be clear. It's just small in terms of like how we tend to live our lives now.
I was about to ask, how did you come by such a place? because like this is the hospitality ghetto. Living space is precious.
I think this was the last of my favors. Was me thinking I absolutely need somewhere to stay, and I refuse to do so in someone else's company. So I need to figure out how I can avoid staying with somebody. And the solution that I came to was I should find someone who had like done like who owed me a favor, and like call in that favor. Maybe it's even I think it would be very funny if it was Al-Qadir. I think it was his, like maybe I helped his uncle or something, and then I went and I bullied him into allotting me the space.
Okay, so you're living in Al-Qadir's old house. Perfect.
Yes, indeed. That's what it is.
Okay, yes. Very good. And just because we haven't seen people's homes and rooms, what's Moss's room like in this place? Because I guess we've established that Moss lives here too.
Yeah. Is this a 2-bedroom situation?
That's my gut feeling.
Yes. Cool.
Because I think that when she got the place, it was Al-Qadir and another family sharing the space. They each had a bedroom. And I was like, it's mine now. And you're not going to complain about this, are you? Because if you are, I will beat you. And no, I will not beat you. I will just shame you in front of everybody.
So what I think we see if we go into Moss's bedroom, I think there is probably more space there than she is taking up, even though it is extremely small. Like Moss has a bed, and still there is some like remnants of her like experience as staying as a guest in people's houses. It's how she's lived for most of her life. So most of her stuff, even though she's lived here for quite like a significant amount of time now, is still like in her huge backpack that has like all things dangling from it, and that's at the foot of her bed. And I think the things that are here, otherwise furniture-wise, other than the bed and her backpack, are things that Saeeda has put there or that were there already when the house was bought.
Makes sense. So you basically live out of your bug-out bag, pretty much.
Yes.
What do you think I've given you?
I don't know. Has Saeeda, like, do you think they would have put things in the house just kind of as general make it a bit more homey?
I don't know about make it a bit more homey, but definitely make it a bit more mine. So maybe there is a collection of wooden sculptures made from dead mangroves, and I think that this is like just a set of things that's been bought. What you might call bric-a-brac. But for Saeeda, it is probably something slightly more important because it represents something to her specifically, right? But so maybe they've put one in each room of the house. So there is one in your room as well.
Oh yeah, cool.
All right. So, and I think we begin this. And I think we begin the scene by
I will add
you
something.
guys. Okay, yeah.
I have, of course, given you guys a housewarming present.
Yeah, your house.
Yes.
Did your sister as well? Or was it just you?
No, it was us both. It's a very big bowl, a very big clay bowl that I actually, maybe I made it. I worked with the potter and I made it, and Uzra painted it with like birds and shit. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Yes.
I take it with the kind of grace that I understand to be appropriate.
Yeah, it's not for you though.
No, I didn't think it was.
Yeah.
So sorry, it was
Okay.
a bowl.
A bowl.
Oh, a bowl.
Yeah. It's not important at all in any context beyond that. It's from us. Yes.
Very good. And so this bowl is the centerpiece of what is going on. As I think this scene starts with Bald Murad delivering you guys some food that has been left by a student. And so I think he comes in and he looks around. He sees this big bowl. And I think he will pour into it. No, I think he will set down. He's carrying like a container of hot coals to keep things warm. And then he will there isn't space on the table, so he fiddles around a bit. Like he moves the bowl, then he sets down the coals, and then he puts up some small pieces of sizzling meat. And he says, I forget Murad's voice now, but he says some students came over with this. I thought we should share. Technically it was for you, but you weren't there, so here you go. Yeah.
Bald Murad, how many times have I told you that whatever the students give to the temple, no, sorry, I don't say temple, we're not part of a temple. Whatever the students give to us, the school keeps, not those of us who do not live there.
Yeah, I know, but no one was there, and you kind of got to eat this fresh, or the bugs and stuff are gonna get to it. I mean, I can eat it. He says, looking at you so much.
No, you've already brought it. Here, have a biscuit. And I think there is some moldy biscuit. Not moldy. That's mean. There is some stale biscuit. It's not bad to eat. It's not particularly pleasant.
Yeah.
But he can have some meat as well if he likes.
Sure. I think he will take the biscuit, and then he probably has business to do, so he hurries along. But now there has been a meal delivered, so it's a good reason for you guys to talk, right? So Moss, who is probably taking a nap or whatever, is woken up by the slamming around that Murad does, and also by the smell of meat kept warm on some coals.
And the truth is that even though I do think the principle is important, the meat is also good. So
yeah, I'm imagining this as kind of one of those Turkish barbecues where they put some wrapped coals inside to keep it warm. So, yeah. So it's a
I'm just peeking my head out of the bedroom you aren't going to make us eat this in the school again.
No, you can have it here. But if we're not, we have to start it right. You know that. I know that. We have to make sure everybody knows that. If people think we're just running this to get stuff for ourselves, we're no better than Ram. And I refuse to be no better than Ram.
There are some improvements to be made on Ramu, I agree.
Are you guys talking about shit about Ramu in front of Bald Murad?
No,
I think Murad is leaving, actually.
Gone.
He took the biscuits and left. So
I have not said anything in front of Ramu. Not because I'm scared of Ramu, to be clear, or of Bald Murad, but mostly because I'll have to hear about it from you later on. And then I'm just like, this is not worth it to me. Yeah, fine, whatever.
Is it
so
I mean, also come up.
It's meat. It's fine. It's if I had to guess, it's probably goat. I think they kind of peer at it, trying to figure out what it is. Then gives it up, mostly because they don't really care that much. And then they will say, I wanted to speak to you about something before I brought it up with Mushfiq and Bidrohi.
Oh?
Wanted to make sure that we might be on the same page.
Sounds serious.
Yes. You recall the night at the opera some months ago when the House of Lies came into being?
In fact, I've been dreaming about it
Have you now?
just now.
And as they say this, I think they're actually quite happy that you're dreaming about it, which may not be good for you. That may be kind of weird, actually. That they're happy, but that's who she is. And she says, "Excellent." And you remember what I said to you about the Prince of Endings?
You'll have to remind me. Many things were said about the Prince of Endings that day.
That when it was all over, they threw him into the wilderness.
They said this about Prince Katan. That was the phrase.
That is who. Yes, for Prince Khatam is the Prince of Endings.
Oh, she kind of like rubs her face. Okay, that makes more sense. I've been meaning to ask you about if you knew what that means, but apparently you do.
All in good time. Now, before you... Have you been dreaming about Prince Khatam?
I was in my dream. I was on stage and I forgot my feathers, which is weird because I didn't have feathers, But
I see. So just some. That's disappointing. Well,
I'm sorry.
not too many. Here is what I think is important to know. It is that the Prince of Endings is going to join us. And he is going to join us, but in order for something to end, it must first begin. And in order for the Prince of Endings to begin, we must make him begin. And I think it's time that you and the other two... Well, I'm not asking you to join me necessarily, but it would be good if you didn't interrupt my plans. So tell me, what do you think the word divinity means?
Wait, why are we making the Prince of Endings begin?
Well, don't worry about that just yet. Just tell me, what do you think divinity is?
Okay. This is a difficult one. It means the opposite of mundane, in the same that sacred is the opposite of profane, the opposite of the everyday. It's more than of this world.
So you would say that we would find the divine by eliminating the mundane?
I suppose. And if anything remains, that would be divine. That makes sense to me.
Good. As to why we must bring the Prince of Endings into the world, the first thing, and I think as they say this, there is a kind of ironclad belief, because they're about to say something akin to, the sky is made of clay, right? Like just completely bonkers. She says, the first thing you must know is that the Prince of Endings is already here. All around us, there are 6 houses. You know this, don't you?
I aren't there 5 houses? I forget.
6. 6, my dear. Justice, swiftness, shadow, the other two.
Might and Lefter. Might and Lefter.
Yeah, that's what they were. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna do that again. Give me a second. Justice, swiftness, shadow, might, laughter, endings. 6. Right?
I'm not sure I've heard of the last one. But well, you've been around longer than I have, maybe. Where did you get all this from? Have you been in contact with the Blue Smoke Troop about their tome, their book?
In fact, I have not. I thought it better to focus my efforts elsewhere for some time. And well, the Blue Smoke Troop is, should we say that the longer I leave it, the more well inclined they will be to me when I ask. Here's what I need you to do for me, Moss. When I tell Mushfiq and Bidrohi, you're going to agree with me that there are 6 houses, because you will know that there are 6 houses. You will agree with me that there are 6 princes, because you know there are 6 princes. And when I name the house An-Khatam, you will know you are one of the house of An-Khatam.
I know that is our name. But
and I think actually I'm going to use this as my training action. So I will fill in my last slot on my playbook advancement track, filling it. I will take the ability, which I now think it's mildly funnily named, but maybe it should be named something else.
Excellent.
It's called Speak of the Devil, and it says, you have begun to know the names of the Prince of Endings. Speak 1 and he will stir, speak 3 and he will speak 5 and he will wake. Beware his attention, even his siblings fear him. And what I am going to do is I am going to attempt to speak the first name of the Prince of Endings, so that my clanswoman, Moss on the Rung that breaks your ankle, An-Khatam, may hear it.
So I think maybe this happens in response to Moss saying, I know that is our name, but I don't know if I can back you up, because I don't know any of those things, because you haven't taught me, you've just told me.
Yeah, and I think that the first name of the Prince of Endings really has to be Khatam, right? Because we are the House of Endings. So if we are on Khatam, then... So I think I will just look into Moss's eyes and, sane as a nuclear bomb, I'm going to say, his name is Khatam. You reckon this might be a role, Prince?
Yes. Yes, I do. So, you are, yeah.
Desperate.
Let me look up what you are doing. You are speak 1 and he will stir. That's all it says. So you're speaking 1 name of the Prince of Endings. Speak 1 and he will stir.
I want to be clear. I'm pretty sure this is the only one I know, and it's one that I'm attempting to bring into the world. A.
Okay.
B. I have no idea what stirring means, but I trust that Moss will recognize it, which is all I need from it. And C. I gotta ask you a question about stress, which is that given that it's been a few months, do I get to clear my stress ball?
Yes, I think let's do this. We have been in long downtime, so let us.
But I thought we were gonna have a cute date near the tree.
No, we need to indulge vice. That is absolutely correct. Don't clear your stress bar. Sorry. You were quite right.
That's fine.
We have indulging vice to do.
In that case, I am... resisting this may become more interesting than it might have been otherwise, but that's totally fine.
Yep.
Yes.
So, How I'm going to frame this is that this is Desperate Great, and the great effect is to Moss, and the desperate consequence is to Saeeda.
Yes.
This is how it's going to be framed. So if you succeed, you will have some impact on Moss, because Moss is the person to hear this. I mean, what is happening here, just to be clear to you, Emma, I think Moss is about to hear something that is said with divine truth, and this, just hearing it has an effect on you, right? Because that's what this ability does. But their roll might also fail, so.
On the subject of stirring, I will remind everyone that Uduasha is built in the caldera of an extinct volcano.
Yep. Yes, it is. And with a fallen star in it, so.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Stir? Stir?
Very good.
There is no star apart from Bidrohi. Don't worry about it. It seems to me that I am attuning, but it's possible that I am swaying? Question mark? I don't know.
I think you're attuning. I think you're doing a classic desperate attune, actually.
Great. I am warded, so I'm going to mark my special armor, which restores at the beginning of downtime. So I unmarked it from the end of the last score. So I'll mark it again to push myself when I deal with arcane forces. This is literally the point of this ability. And I know the secret ways to study the names of ancient powers, and I get 1 die to speak it for my own purposes.
Yep.
So it's 2 extra dice. Yeah. Musk, do you want to help me? I think it might be more interesting if you don't, to be clear.
I think you should take a devil's bargain that I might suggest.
Oh.
But you can decide if you're assisting first.
No, go ahead. I'm curious to hear the devil's bargain.
Okay. I think as soon as you say the name, regardless of what else happens, something very strange happens in Ypres.
Oh, the deep city? Okay,
Yes.
We're doing this, I guess. Okay, we're invoking the deep city. Fine. I will modify this devil's bargain slightly before I pass it on to Tree. Your friend Salman, the King of Lies, is in Ypres right now, as you say this.
Indeed. I think this makes this is
something will happen to him.
Yes, I think I would take this, and I want to add that I am his vizier. So if something that I do hurts him, I'm literally a traitorous vizier, and B, I told him that I was going to be a traitorous vizier, but then if that becomes true, how am I a liar?
Yes.
Don't know.
Yes.
Great.
Very good. So you induce an ontological shift in the deep city and take a bonus die for this.
Excellent. Emma. Sorry. Yeah, Emma, do you want to help?
Yes, I think, in fact, in fact, Moss, though she is extremely confused, is also extremely drawn somehow by all these things you are saying, and there is a genuine need in her head to like make sense of what until now sounds like ramblings and like out of nothing ramblings. And I think that desire in her will will both pull at her stress and also make the attuning easier.
Makes sense. I can't both push myself for a die and take a devil's bargain, so I'm just unmarking my special armor for now.
Okay.
Because rather than go for extreme effect, I may mark the special armor if this roll ends up going badly. So it is Attune.
Yep.
It is Desperate. I'm at Great Effect. I have 1 die from my ability, 1 die from the Devil's Bargain, and 1 die from Help. So that's 3 bonus dice. Watch me roll 3 2s. Sorry, 5 2s.
Let's see.
Oh my god.
Not even 1, 2, 4, 2, 5.
I just wanted a 6. Yeah. I was in my brain, I was like, wow, I could really roll a crit here. There is a non-zero chance.
Okay. Well, you
Anyway,
have your special armor remaining, and so there is a great effect on Moss, and there's also something happening to Saeeda for. I mean, you're not invoking the name in vain, but you are invoking the name. So Moss, the great effect that you have here, and we will explore what the hell this means down the line. Actually, is that you've been having dreams of Prince Katam, of this legend of the past, right?
Yes.
And as this name is spoken, you realize that it is the Prince of Endings, not the Prince of Beginnings. These dreams are not of the past. The play you have been acting out is not from the past, it's from the future.
Ah.
And you now have prophetic dreams.
But I literally did a fist pump. Excellent.
Yes. So you now have prophetic dreams. This may be something that you can bend to your advantage, or it may just be something that plagues you. But you realize in a flash that all of the dreams you have been happening are of things that have not yet happened, and that in fact the entire play you participated in depicts events that have not yet happened.
Damn, that's cool. All right.
Yeah. Which means that you had, let me remind you, dreams of an entire lifetime, which you now realize are in the future. So.
Oh shit! It means she's going to have to live. A+.
Yeah, gonna have to live all of that out. I think we see Saeeda speak the name, and something shifts in Moss, and suddenly like tears are just running down her cheeks, even though she remains mostly still.
Do you have any future memories of you going to your brother's wedding as he marries an absolute smoke show?
If Bidrohi knew
about this is probably what he would ask. Yes.
I have a question for Prince, which is what is the desperate consequence?
Yeah, I was about to name that to you, Saeeda, and you may want to resist this.
Yes.
You are not in this future. You are going to die before it comes to pass.
Oh.
Like, you will never see your god realized.
Oh shit. If I accept this, does that mean my god will be realized?
If you accept this, it means that the future that Moss sees will be realized after you die.
But we don't know. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we don't know precisely what that means yet. This is a very abstract sort of role, but this is what's going on.
Excellent. Yeah, I want to mark my special armor to resist here, but what I want to resist is the uncertainty regarding whether or not my god comes into being. So I think it's A+ if I end before Prince Katam begins, but I want to resist Prince Katam not beginning.
So fair enough. I think what this will resist is the uncertainty about whether or not this will happen, and it may also resist, like, it may be that you will get to live to see the beginning of the end, as it were.
Sure.
I think it sort of shifts the uncertainty here, right? It's not uncertain whether or not Prince Katam will exist now. It is uncertain whether or not you will live to see it.
Whether I will exist alongside Prince Katam.
Yes. And I think this uncertainty is actually enough, because even as you resist this, even as you strive to, like, understand this prophecy, it's not even you really changing the future, it's just you coming to terms with it and interpreting it. You now know that your time is limited. That is the other consequence. Like, no one lives forever, but you have seen in this moment your own ending.
Yeah. And I think, in fact, there is something very poignant happening here in that we have both Moss and Saeeda have seen their futures. Right, and they're very different in that Moss has seen a second life, but Saeeda just sees her death.
Yeah, and it may not even be Moss's life in the future. It's just a vision from the future, because it's not like it was Moss's life as Moss before. So it's all very confusing. But yes,
it's all very confusing. Yeah, but I think that they speak this. They know that there is something somewhere has changed. Is it Fallen London which says something somewhere has begun to change? Anyway.
Indeed.
Something somewhere has begun to change. It's an apt description of what is going on.
So yeah, that's what happens.
And Moss, we see tears streaming down your face. What else do you do as this crushing realization overwhelms you?
Let me think for a sec. And I think she also thinks for a sec. I see the inevitability of it. And I get it. Okay, I get it. Our part in it is inevitable too. What are you going to tell Bidrohi and Mushfiq?
Exactly what I told you.
Okay.
Do they deserve any different?
No.
Then
It sounded
that's what
like me.
I will tell.
I just don't understand why you told me first.
I told you first because it seems to me that in the desert you may have seen things more like the Prince of Endings. And you may have more experience with something like that, with something like him.
I see.
But I also told you first because you live with me. Hard to avoid.
Okay, sure. And then she grabs a bite of meat and eats it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Saeeda's gonna eat a bit and just like think about stuff. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yep.
Great. That's what I wanted to speak to Moss about.
Yeah, let me remind you, Tree, that I have no idea what your bullshit is going to do until you do it. So
This
took me by surprise too, but
yeah, good.
Here we are.
It should. I didn't know either. A and B. I really think that I enjoy this game best when we find out together. So
yep. It's just you spoke this, and I thought the ending cannot be in the past. So
yeah,
it isn't.
Yeah.
Very good. Meanwhile. So we have seen Saeeda and Moss's new living situation, and also the future, and we turn now to let us turn to Bidrohi. Actually, let's go to Mushfiq last, and say how Bidrohi's life has improved and or changed, and then we will do a scene involving Bidrohi.
Sorry, you want me to go first?
Yes. About how Bidrohi's life and lifestyle has changed, and I have noted down that Bidrohi and Mumtaz haven't really spoken since.
Yeah, at least on screen. But Bidrohi's life is amazing. Okay, first of all, one word: butler. This is not the right word because it's not really a butler, but it's more like just someone who comes in every day that just, I don't know, sweeps up the floors. But it's an improvement for the house, for sure. So, I mean, Sherakhatam, I am working on your butler. We'll get to butler level soon, but I hope this is fine for now.
So this person is just like some student hoping to learn, and you tell them to sweep the floor, or what?
No. This is just someone. This is someone we've hired for the boarding house.
Okay, I see.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the students, of course, they must sweep the floors. I mean, if you're going to be a student in a sword school, of course, you must sweep the floors. That's a separate thing. But this is the house. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is actually your mother has enough. You have somehow given your mother enough clout to hire up one staff member for the boarding house.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes. We shall. You know what? We hired him because his name is Butler.
Okay. Excellent. His name is Butler. I have just one question about Butler, and I will let you decide. Is he very young or very old? I think it is one of the two.
Butler, the servant, is an old Dagger Islander man.
Excellent.
Are you making an Artemis Fowl reference?
No. I would never do such a thing.
I'm sorry to tell you that you are making an Artemis Fowl reference, because in Artemis Fowl, the titular character, Artemis Fowl, has a dude who is his bodyguard, chef, and all-around dad character, and his name is Butler.
What can I say? Owen Kofer. Oh, if Artemis Fowl level of writing rises to that level, what can one say?
Yes.
So, Butler is a very old man. He sweeps the floor. He takes care of the building from time to time.
Yeah.
And he is a Dagger Islander, so he has cool tattoos. Because this is the thing I establish about Dagger Islanders in my games. They have cool tattoos.
Excellent. Nice. Okay, just wanted to establish him and immediately move on to more interesting things.
Yep, absolutely.
Which is, so my best friend is now Al-Qadir Khatam. We hang out all the time. I am always at his political meetings. I am becoming, alongside him, a pillar of the community. I don't know what this means yet, but I've decided I'm getting into politics.
Yep.
And when I say politics, I mean getting into politics as much as Al-Qadir Khatam is, which is not very much.
I think the reason that Al-Qadir Khatam manages to have political sway despite being pretty incompetent is, I think the thing we have seen about him is he just has boundless energy somehow. So like he gets things done just by virtue of going to all the meetings, which almost no one else has the patience for.
Yes, exactly.
So that's the sort of thing he does.
I'm going with him, and we are waistcoat bros. He has introduced me to his. Through him, I have now enough clout to go to the best tailor in the hospitality ghetto. Which is, well, I mean, he's the best tailor in the hospitality ghetto. But he is the best tailor in the hospitality ghetto.
Absolutely. So we see a montage of you and Al-Qadir walking out with brand new waistcoats and sunglasses in slow motion.
Yes. This man is on my contact list from the very beginning, but we haven't had much opportunity to use him yet. His name is Tum Dorji, which basically means you are a tailor.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
As soon as he was born, his dad looked at him and said, "Tum Dorji."
Tum Dorji. Very good.
Well. Good.
I fear for. I mean, if Klow ever has children, I fear for them.
Yes.
All right.
Well, yes. This is my life now. Political meetings, nice waistcoats, but servant called butler. Things are very chill. Also, people. I teach people sword fighting. That's so cool.
Yes. So you have a butler called Butler and a tailor called Tailor.
Yes. Oh, and one last thing. Because now, obviously I was always very cool and people always used to look up to me and find me sexually attractive and desirable. But now people find me even more sexually attractive and desirable. But right now it is all wasted. They come up to me and say, "Bidrohi, would you have sex with me?" And I say, in other circumstances, absolutely. You are amazing and beautiful and gorgeous and intelligent, and I would be very lucky. But I am already taken.
Yes.
I just wanted to establish this.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I wanted to get to that because I think your relationship with Mumtaz evolved to a very good place after the last score, actually, where both of you guys made a lot of money and increased your level of fame. So you're kind of a celebrity couple now, right? You individually got famous at the Colosseum event. But then people found out that you're dating, so now you're no longer quite individually famous, as it were. This is a problem for you, actually, because your mother does not approve of this relationship.
But it's okay. I get her a cool servant called Butler. And I am working with this nice... I'm working with nice Al-Qadir Khatam man, and we are working for Kethrisi independence, I think. I'm not sure what we're talking... I'm not sure what we actually do, but he seems very important,
Yes. Absolutely. So we will see what Moonlit actually thinks of this, but I don't think you ever got to the point where I think she got to the point where she's basically not scolding you for having dated this girl, but it was understood, I think, that you're not going to keep doing it, so...
I can have one Uduasha girlfriend as a treat, okay?
Sure. We will see what your mother has to say about this. But... do you think there is a scene here with your new girlfriend? Because I think she is also not the person to officially be dating someone.
So I think
Mm.
I think it's interesting to have a scene actually about you addressing that whole situation. But maybe there's something else you wish to speak of.
Yeah, so before that, like we did talk
Mhm.
about, like out of character, we did talk about like going to see the tree and so on, and like having a big
Mhm.
scene around that. I'm not sure, is that still something that's going to happen? I'm asking Moss first.
I mean, I still have functioning vice, and I'm still going to indulge in it.
Mhm.
So it would still it would be very good if people joined.
Okay, how
Oh
about
my
then?
god, you're a functioning vice.
With
Yes.
a tree, I know. It's
I gotta figure out how to fish next to a tree. Sorry, please go
shouldn't
on.
be that hard because it's in a flooded basement. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to have a cute date with my girlfriend.
Mhm. at
Ellipsis
the flooded
question mark.
basement.
Yes, well, we're going to have a cute date, and I'm not sure how we end up in a flooded basement, but we're going to work towards it. Out of character, I'm going to work towards the flooded basement. We're going to find an in-character reason to go to the flooded basement.
Okay, so
But we can
should
start
we
the
do that
conversation
scene
beforehand.
now, or if the flooded basement involves more people, should we catch up with Mushfik first, perhaps?
Mhm.
Okay. So your plan is to take your girlfriend, who has nothing to do with Ketris, really, to a flooded basement, and
Well,
Mushfik.
she is doing me all the time.
Yes.
Mm.
That is true. We have other things to catch up on as well. But Mushfik, how has your life improved and changed since the events at the Colosseum? You are probably the most famous person on the crew at the moment. So
Mm. Yeah. The thing is, like I said, I've always pictured Mushfik as being like just broke. So I think whatever money he's got, he would have just spent it on useless shit immediately. In terms of his lifestyle improving, I think he can now afford a shirt. I think previously he'd just wear patched up some, like a undershirt. But now he's got like a button-up shirt, so he's very happy about that. Yeah, and I'm not sure what he'd be doing right about now and where we see him.
yeah,
Guess he's
we
just
don't have
hanging
to catch
around.
up with him necessarily. He has gotten nicer clothes and otherwise lives pretty much the same.
Yeah, otherwise it's pretty much the same. I don't know, have any of his fans sent him anything?
Remember that we were selling like replicas of your grappling hook arm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh god, we were doing that, weren't we?
That's a generous way of putting what we were selling.
Yes, it was pretty much trash. But yes, let's say that your fans have sent you something just for. Actually, I think it's your vice purveyor, Sundari Tandori. I think Sundari has become a fan of you, and so
Listen,
he will. What?
I was just gonna say that the reason that this game is a joke is not because of Saeeda's absolute batshit nonsense. It's because of Tum Dorji and Sundari Tandori. Okay,
Yes,
I just want this to be made clear.
I
made
did
all
not
these
name these
names.
people. Yeah,
It was me.
This is all.
It was
this
me,
is all
Austin.
Klow's fault. Yes. The fact that Udwasha is apparently full of Bengali puns is squarely on Klow's shoulders.
Yeah.
But
Please go
yes, Sundari is. I think he is your fan, and so he's obviously he has been. Sorry, yes, he has been obviously giving you free food and so on. But I think she's also sent you some like fan gift one of the days you were in the restaurant enjoying the sauce, because you still can't afford very much food. So sometimes it's on the house, and sometimes it's something else. So I think what she has given you is some sort of like champion's belt.
Oh.
It's she made it herself, or maybe possibly with her family, but it's like a fandom thing. It's also advertising for her restaurant, right? Because she pictured you walking in like wearing it and being like, yes, this is where we serve the breakfast of champions, literally.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Sundari Thanduri, but I think Mushfik would have. I mean, what does this thing look like?
Yeah, so it's not made by Tumdurji, who is the best tailor. It's made by her, and it's not, very good. But she has made up her mind to have it be like fancy. So I think it's like yellow and white to symbolize gold and silver, which he can't actually afford. And
So-
it just says champion on it.
I bet it's got
Is it-
sequins on it. It's got
Is this
sequins.
like a pro wrestling belt?
Yes, pretty much.
All right, yeah. Mushfiq would have taken one look at that and then tossed it out.
Yes. Very unfortunate.
Um,
I think one of her descriptors is spineless, so I think she has not commented on this because she wasn't there to, if I remember correctly, her descriptions from the book.
Yeah,
Sly, spineless, incompetent.
Spineless and incompetent. Yeah.
God.
So she has sent you presents, you have thrown them away, and she has not dared confront you about it. This is the
yeah. I don't know. I didn't have anything planned. Unfortunately, I didn't have anything planned for Mushfiq to do right about now. I figured that maybe one of the other characters would have a.
I got
something.
something.
All right.
I got something.
okay.
Because of the grappling hook, there is now a growing, very very small population. There's a very small trend of people who are throwing ropes onto like rafters and so on and trying to swing across them. You have created a trend of amateur Spider-Men who all look up to you.
Good.
It's
Okay,
a thing
great.
now in the city.
Can I vote? Can I vote that Zoheb no longer be permitted to add law?
No, I have a way to turn this around. Actually,
Amateur
this is not just it's not amateur Spider-Man. What this has influenced is unexpectedly the roof ballers of Uduasha, and
Hell
the
yeah.
roof ball sport is now including hook shots. This is so there are actually people who are somewhat competent, but you know they were roof ball fans who saw that fight. They're like, oh, that's interesting. I bet I could use that.
See,
And so-
is that how it is? Like, it's okay. It's not okay if like people are amateur Spider-Man, but it's okay if we have amateur Spider-Man football
No.
players, huh?
Nah, because then
Yes.
they're pro Spider-Man.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Exactly.
I just want to
Exactly.
know what the rules are.
Aadiyat has got it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. What we find Mushfiq is that like if in terms of his room, I think like what his living space, so his he's got a place at Moonlit's boarding house. I would say that it's fairly stark, right? Like, and maybe it's just like I don't know, the habit of not having anything. So even though maybe he would be able to afford more furniture and dress it up a bit, I think just his upbringing, he's left it pretty stark. So he's basically got like I guess a desk, a chair. There's a thin mattress on top of some wooden pallets. That's his bed. I would say like there's like one window. He's probably just hung up a bed sheet as a curtain. Yeah, and like there's straw mat on the floor, I think, and like, but the thing is, I think it's all very neat. Like there's very few things, but like it's been all fairly well organized. Like, and I think you can tell that this is a room of someone who's had like from at some point, like you know, his teacher has been very strict about keeping his living quarters in order. And if anyone needs Mushfiq, he's over here, and he's eating the free food that Sundari Tanduri has given him.
Yes. Makes sense. So we will cut back.
Wait,
to
was
Mushfiq.
was the meat from Sundari Tanduri as well?
Yes, obviously it was. She's been making donations because
Yeah,
she's
that
trying
makes
to
sense.
spin this as like advertising for her restaurant, but unfortunately it's bombing
Yeah.
because Mushfiq just does not draw attention to himself enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is an issue. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep. So let us then see Bidrohi. Where do you actually meet your girlfriend? Where do you meet Mumtaz? Because you definitely can't do it at the boarding house. Your mother will not let this woman in anymore after she mooched and got free food last time she was there. Like where she usually hangs out is up in Ash Cloister because she is a performer herself.
Yeah. I think we usually go there, but so if I may, I think what's come up is that because I don't actually see her that often, or at least like because when I do see her, like there's also the issue with my mother. Because of that, we don't actually spend much time in Bundervest. And I think like I don't know if she'd be the type of person to actually voice this as like a thing, like, I don't know much about you. I suspect she wouldn't voice it. But I suspect she might be the kind of person who would feel that sort of like distance, that asymmetry.
Yeah.
So I think like what I have suggested is that we actually hang out in Bundervest, which and here like I would make the suggestion and you can tell me how it goes, because one would expect that someone like her wouldn't be caught dead in Bundervest just hanging out. Like that's a really strange place for a date. But if she says yes, if she's into the idea, then that shows that she's actually into me.
Okay, so you have suggested, basically you haven't met in Bundervest before, and when this scene opens, you have suggested that you meet there.
Yeah, I mean we've been in Bundervest, like she came to the boarding house once, but like we haven't had like an actual just date there.
No. So I think it's interesting. It's also sort of like daring, because the Ketrisi community talked when someone dates an outsider, right? And the Ketrisi community lives here, so the likelihood that someone will see it is very high. But I do think she shows up. I think she would show up in Bundervest because it's not as much a problem for her. However, she is by her own admission, a thief and someone who moves in different circles. And so I think she will show up in. She's attempting to blend in somewhat, right? She's also extremely vain, however. So I think what the compromise of this will be is that she's going to show up in like very covering and kind of drab clothes with like a hood over her, like a scarf over her hair, a hood that hides her face, long sleeves, all that, and pretty much look like. Well, she looks like someone who's trying to be incognita, but that's not all that uncommon in Bundervest. And then it's going to be the case that when she lifts this hood, she's going to have like super impeccable makeup and like her nicest earrings on and just be absolutely radiant whenever she actually looks at someone.
Excellent. Everyone should know Bidrohi is dating a 10 out of 10. Yeah.
So this is the vibe she's gone for, which is like undercover, but also made sure that she looks extremely good, even even underneath it. And I think it's in fact the case that like it will also be obvious when she lifts her hood that she's wearing this disguise like on top of her nice clothes.
Okay.
So
I have a plan for this
You're
date.
perfect for each other.
I have an itinerary.
Yep.
First thing is we take a romantic walk along the jetties. In fact, I think
the jetties where the Skovlanders work.
Yeah.
This is not like a nice fishing jetty. This is the place where a bunch of large burly men like handle crates and fish. But okay. Yeah.
Yes. We'll walk along it and then we're going to go. So these are the high locks. So this is where, and I think like when there's the Falcon's Perch. Is that what the fortress was called?
Fortress.
Was it Perch or Nest? I think it was Perch. Either way, the place. Big fortress on a mountain. And yes, of course, like you can't actually go into the fortress, but I think like the paths up to the fortress and like the paths like going up to the high locks. If you're like a fit person, then there's like a walking trail up there and you can actually get an incredible view of the city. So I think we make our way up there.
All right. So you're taking her up to a nice viewing spot.
Yes.
By the old fortress where once, like, in a very distant past, generals looked down outside the city when there was an outside the city to look at. And, so the wind catches in her scarf and she stares out dramatically at the grey wastes outside the city, what little she can see of them, and the clouds, and then, like, down at Bundervest itself with the river and the high locks that lead all the way out of the city. And she turns to you with that painfully beautiful expression. And she says, "So, is this your ambitions you're showing me right now? Or why are we up here?"
Just wanted you to see the whole of Bundervest and the hospitality ghetto. And if you look, you can actually see quite a bit of some of the other districts. Look, there's the foreign quarter, there's Pasarhan too. It's a nice view, I think. And maybe, I mean, I don't know. Like, of course, you have been born and raised in this city. And there's a implied question mark there. You've been born and raised in this city, so maybe you have come up here. But I am thinking maybe not. Uduashans don't seem to come here very often.
No, not to Bundervest.
No, it's for us, isn't it?
I suppose it's become that way. It used to be the entrance to the city, you know? Back in the day when the river was the only way. And she kind of like looks up to the old locks and the old gates of the city that are, I mean, they're still in use, but there's a reason this area has become the poorest part of the city, right? It's no longer the lifeblood of commerce it once was.
Yeah. So I think we look at it and say, now people like my mother, they come in through the jetty, through the locks. Food from my ancestral home, which I've never been to, comes in through the locks. And there, far away, we can't see it from here. In the railway station, that's where all the things that people really want or pretend they want, they come in. All the Sparkcraft and all those like really nice things. But at the end of the day, you can't eat Sparkcraft. What people in Uduasha really need, but never really think about, is all the food coming from Kethris. Sometimes I think about this. Have you? Sorry?
Yeah, she smiles and she says, "You took me up here to impress me with rice, and you succeeded. Well done."
Rice is very impressive.
Yes, I was going to say. Okay, first of all, rice is very impressive. Second of all, the view here is magnificent. Third of all, we can make out up here in complete privacy. So let us do that for a while, and then we do that for a while.
Yeah,
I want to be clear here that the way that this man initiates romantic encounters is, let us do this now.
Yes.
I have scheduled
Yes.
15 minutes for this.
Yeah, but you have a busy date ahead. Very well. You will enjoy the view and the makeout session until the changing of the guard happens up on the Bursan's walls.
Yeah. You know, and then but that's where the fun starts.
Mm-hmm.
And then we say, okay. You know, we have been together for a while, and I don't know that much about you, except that you are hot, and that you are a thief, and that I like you very much. So, you can tell me more about yourself when it is comfortable for you. That is entirely up to you. But, you know, you are hot, and I like you very much. We have had many activities that intersect on these two qualities. But the fact that you are a thief, we have not intersected upon yet. How about we go and do some crimes?
He laughs and she says, "Well, you really are my sort of guy. Most people, I think, they're more comfortable with conversation than with conversation. But I'm the other way around," she says, using one of those as a euphemism.
Mm-hmm. I am an all-rounder kind of man, okay?
Well,
I can also do crime.
Yeah, you're certainly all around her.
You can also do crime. What did you have in mind exactly? I suggested a job for you once. I suppose turnabout is fair play.
Okay. I mean, it's still a date, you know, so let's not like overexert ourselves by too much. But okay. Let us get a little bit political, if that's all right with you. Is it okay if we get a little bit political?
Is this the waving and smiling from behind a fan kind of political, or the paperwork kind?
No, it's the steal a bunch of shit kind of political.
Well, I'm fine with that.
Excellent, very good. So, you know the Scotlanders? I mean, most of them are very nice, but some of them, they are like you know, like fucking assholes, you know, and they have like guns and so on, and they like really bully us. Okay, how about we just kind of go through the Scotlander part of the hospitality ghetto and just steal a bunch of shit from some of their merchants?
This is such a terrible idea.
She looks at you and she kind of lowers her gaze, and there's like a seductive eyelash flutter. And then she says, "Is this about that woman Jackal?"
And she gives away that she has been looking into you.
Okay. Listen, me and Jekyll, that is a very different matter. That is also a very deep relationship with lots and lots of twisting and turnings. But it is a very different kind of relationship than what I have with you. Okay. And I hope very much that we do not run into Jekyll, because that's going to get very complicated and Nostris is probably going to shoot us.
Now,
So I
darling,
propose a
this-
path away from her.
Yeah. Now, darling, this is the kind of politics I enjoy, she says, and she pokes you in the chest. And then she's going to totally do it, because now the political has become personal.
Yes.
So,
Oh god. Oh wait, is she proposing we find Jekyll?
no, she is proposing you steal shit and annoy Jackal, specifically.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, very good. We will let her. Okay, this is even better. We steal some things and then we leave a little note saying, "Tell Jekyll it was Bidrohi," plus his hot girlfriend.
Yep. Yeah. She smiles and says, well,
I said I wasn't a fan of the paperwork part of politics, but that I can get behind.
Excellent. I will get behind you. You go ahead. I will be behind you.
Okay. So you guys are just going to.
I mean, that's not even.
What is this?
So you're just going to walk on the hostile turf and steal some shit.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. Well, I think this is not to draw this out too long. Like, we won't make this a whole, solo
Yeah.
score or anything. But I think
No.
there's a role here.
Yeah. And I don't think we'll get anything particularly
No.
valuable enough to.
I have an idea for both consequences and effect of this. So it's risky standard, and the standard effect you will get here is like not necessarily anything of value, but you will have a good date. Like that's the
Yes,
standard
exactly.
effect.
That's
She's
the
going to
point.
have fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to. This is all about the fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to call it a finesse.
Yep, it's not a downtime action. There is risk involved, and finesse
Alright.
it is.
All right. Good. So risky standard, right?
Mhm.
Okay. It's not a downtime action, so I'm not getting a +1 dice from Muntaz.
It's just also she is sort of the target of the action. So
Yeah, makes sense. Could I get a devil's bargain?
I really hope that you generate a consequence here.
Yeah,
so,
that's fair enough. But do we-
Yes, there's. Okay, this is the dumb devil's bargain, but it came to my mind. So, I think the devil's bargain you can take here is that you will actually steal something personally of Jackal's. I mean, she's not like a tremendously wealthy woman. She doesn't have bodyguards, right? You can't steal something from her house, but this is the hospitality ghetto. There's a lot of.
I know what it
Yeah.
is.
It's probably from like a clothesline or something.
I know exactly what it is.
Uh-huh.
She's got I think 2 pairs of cowboy boots with spurs, and one of them happens to be in a cobbler's.
Yeah, there you go. One of them is being repaired, so you steal.
Yes.
You
her
want to
shoes.
steal one shoe?
No, 1 pair.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay,
Well,
fine.
we'll see.
Just
Yeah.
confirming that
Okay.
you'll have the pad.
You can
yeah.
take this as a
Then-
devil's bargain,
no.
but
You know what? Stealing 1 shoe is even better because I could have stolen the other one.
Yeah.
But I just steal 1, so now she
now
has
you're
a
just
useless
being
shoe.
annoying. Yeah.
You steal the one shoe that isn't broken, right? You leave the shoe that doesn't, that's not the sole on.
Uh-huh.
And is the note with "it was Bidrohi and his hot girlfriend" in the other shoe?
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes.
Okay. So you may take this devil's bargain, and whether or not you succeed in giving your date a good time, Jackal is annoyed with you now, and I am dropping Jackal's squad in faction status.
Apparently, we don't have a good time.
Okay,
Oh my
fantastic. So, what is going
You
to
were
happen
so obsessed
here?
with Jackal.
What is going to happen here, and you can resist this if you wish, but what is going to happen is that you are caught out by some Skovlander thugs. They're going to run after you, and you guys are just going to flee head over heels, because these are not the kind of people you can reason with. And I don't think Bidrohi has brought a sword. And
No.
unless you resist it, you are going to be chased into a flooded basement where you will coincidentally bump into Moss, who is heading
But
for
Prince,
the tree.
Recipe for a terrible
That's what I
time.
wanted to have happen. That's what I wanted to happen.
Yes, the consequence
is that Moss has been asked to keep an eye on your relationship with this foreign woman, this outsider woman. And this outsider woman, I don't think, is supposed to be seeing the secret Kethracy ancestor tree. And now she's going to very much insist on it, because she's going to figure out, just from your meeting alone, that there is something going on here.
It's fine. She should learn our traditions, because soon, maybe, she will be family.
Yes. So I know that you wanted this to happen anyway. The reason it's a consequence is that Mumtaz will catch on to that there is something of value here.
Yes.
Maybe she won't necessarily understand it, but she will. And she is, she likes you, but she's still an outsider, and your religion means nothing to her. So.
Well, we shall see about that. We shall see what happens of them.
You can resist this if you want, and I think you're resisting it basically by distracting her from it. But I think the interesting thing here is that she not only finds this basement, but finds something out, right? And I think the reason this is your hiding place is just straightforwardly that you probably don't know why Moss goes here, but you do know that Moss goes here. So you know that it is a place that is hidden away.
Okay, so for now, I won't resist her seeing the tree and let's see. For now, I won't resist it. I'd like her to see the tree, actually.
Yeah,
and we just.
I think it's not that you stumble straight into the tree, right? You probably stumble into this basement, and yeah, like I said, I think you're using a bolt hole that Moss has used before. Is it fair, Moss?
Yeah.
Do you think that's reasonable?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah. So and since we wanted a scene together, I suppose Moss can be there, as can anyone else who wants to have visited the tree. We can flashback to a scene where you tell people about it if you want.
Yeah. So my first question would be: Is Bidrohi here for the flashback scene where I tell people about the tree? Which would mean that he would be aware what the basement is.
Oh, do you wanted to do that on a flashback? I think that makes sense then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here close the doors to the house of endings. Those who dwell within are Zoheb, called Klow, Aadiyat, called Zoheb, Soumithri, called Tree, and Emma. I have been Prince, your host. Our city of Uduasha is based on Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions, with special thanks to Johnstone Metzger. Follow us on Twitter or support us on kofi.com/desperateattune. If you want to engage further with us, we also have a Patreon at patreon.com/desperateattune, where you will get our newsletter, extra content, and updates from Uduasha.
On the next episode of Desperate Attune.
I would like to grab him and say, and what do you think you're doing?
Going to see if this tastes the same as the ancestor bananas that I have brought in from Kithris.
It will not. How will it taste the same? Mushfiq?
Well,
have you seen it?
Well, I mean, it'll let me know if something's wrong with it.
There is obviously... Sorry, what?
You're a banana diagnostician now?